Anthropic released a report about 2 weeks ago talking about the labor market impacts of artificial intelligence using a new measure and early evidence in this PDF. This actually was widely circulated about 2 weeks ago, but I honestly think that it's still taking time for this concept to sink in for the greater population, for most people in the world. I want to talk about this specific report, as well as how to future-proof yourself, even if your job is at risk of being eliminated because of AI. Now, I also want to make sure that I am being explicitly clear where I don't think this is happening right now, nor do they think it's happening right now, and there's no guarantees of this happening. But I have a couple of personal experiences that I want to share as I talk about this in this video that will help to center everything as to why I'm making this. Now, personally, I am using OpenClaw and have been using OpenClaw since January, about late January. So working on it now for about 2 months, 2.5 months or so, it is insane. It's nowhere near the moment where it can really be at mass population, or not mass population, but like spreading so that more people can use it, like the everyday normal person can access it and really put up with all the nonsense that OpenClaw does, like gateway restarts and running out of tokens and API calls and all the security issues. Trust me, it's not perfect, but the fact that the concept and proof is so powerfully shaken the technology space so much that CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, basically centered one of his recent speeches for an NVIDIA conference on how revolutionary OpenClaw has been, if not one of the most important revolutions ever. So much so as to make their own NemoClaw, an enterprise level OpenClaw chatbot LLM for big corporations to use. You've also probably been paying attention to other large corporations posting layoffs, whether it's Amazon or Jack Dorsey letting go of thousands of people. The reality is that there are some niches. Is that how you say that? There's some niche. There are some jobs that are more at risk than others. And this report from Anthropic might be a little bit skewed to favor AI, admittedly so, but there are some interesting points that I want to share in this video with you to at least get you thinking, as well as to give you a couple of escape hatch opportunities for you. The main thing you need to know about AI right now is that even though it feels like it's like that meme you've probably seen on X or online where some crazy announcements from Anthropic, from OpenAI, from X, from whatever company, and it's literally just absolutely blowing everything that had previously existed out of the water. It's like I wake up, there's a new incredible technological achievement. I wake up, there's a new technological breakthrough that's never happened before. And everything's happening at breakneck speed, which is why a lot of people, I think, are feeling a little bit overwhelmed about this. Well, whichever way you're looking at it. In terms of practicality, there's a couple of good things that you can, and I'll link this down below, a couple of good things that you need to keep in mind, that this is still just a statistical report based off of current or existing tasks. Right here, it says a new measure of occupational exposure. This is a good place to start with this idea because this is where a lot of humans are going to be impacted. I want to preface all this as well with saying that this is most likely how people felt when the internet started to become more widely popularized back in the dot-com boom in the late 90s, where companies like AOL were going crazy, Netscape, all of those good internet companies, those dot-coms going crazy, selling for tens of thousands of dollars, all those parked URLs. A lot of people, I assume, during the dot-com revolution, because I was just in high school then, I didn't really care about it, didn't really know about it. But looking back, there was clearly a frenzy and things were moving so quickly. And people were starting to realize the potential of the internet back in the mid-90s. Now, if you think back to mid-90s or late 90s, that was still dial-up, as in you couldn't use the phone line in order to access the internet, because if you did, it was like, you've got mail, like is old school, right? Think about how far the internet has developed, especially since the birth of the iPhone. And I would argue that to AI, OpenClaw is the iPhone of AI, making it accessible, making the technology to an insanely saturatable level. It's not there yet, but it's very early. I imagine a lot of people when the internet first started, they thought, well, no, it's not really going to mess with that. Too many jobs. I mean, maybe some eccentric, some weird people will be using the internet, but most people like, nah, we're not going to do anything with that. There's no way. It's just the potential of what the internet could do is just years and years out. Here we are, 2026, about 30 years later, to be honest. Think about how much the internet has changed over the last 30 years. And the part that's crazy is think about all of the jobs that have been first displaced from the internet, and then new jobs were created because of the internet. This is the massive potential. And don't worry, this all relates to crypto. Just give me a minute, okay? I'm building up to that. I want to go back to the article, to this section right here, a new measure of occupational exposure. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Our new measure, observed exposure, is meant to quantify of those tasks that LLMs could theoretically speed up, which are actually seeing automated usage in professional settings. Theoretical capabilities encompasses a much broader range of tasks. By tracking how that gap narrows, observed exposure provides insight into economic changes as they emerge. So, our measure qualitatively captures several aspects of AI usage that we think are predictive of job impacts. A job's exposure is higher if its tasks are theoretically possible with artificial intelligence. Its tasks see significant usage in the Anthropic economic index, so this way it's skewed towards them. Its tasks are performed in work-related contexts. It has a relatively higher share of automated use patterns or API implementation. That's huge, especially with the X402 layer for agents. Its AI-impacted tasks make up a larger share of the overall role. I know this is a lot of jargon to compress and to chew on and to think about. But in the same way that the internet disrupted a lot of jobs that were previously manual, where there were real life design agencies, marketing agencies that communicated over the phone, you had meetings in person, a lot of that stuff got to be digitized, where now you have digital real estate, digital advertising. So there is still money to be made using the power of the internet. And all the people that were early jumped on the bandwagon real fast. They were able to secure their spot, embracing all of the volatility and the breakneck development speed that the internet had 30 years ago. And here we are today. One of the scarier images from this report is actually right here. I need to zoom out just a little bit. And this says the theoretical capability and observed usage by occupational category. This is where we start to see a little bit of concern across the board. One thing that should stand out to you immediately is that many jobs are still safe, relatively speaking. Jobs that are safe would be like transportation-based jobs, although I don't agree with that, because Waymo, Tesla, they've already started to establish automatic driving. Much of transportation could also be automated to a degree and have AI oversee it. So I don't really necessarily agree with that. Production, this is one I'm surprised that they have so low, where we, as in humanity, already has global manufacturing countries, cities that specialize in producing certain goods or services. Those, I imagine, would be much higher. But then we get into practical things: installation and repair, construction, agriculture, personal care, grounds maintenance, food and serving. protective services, healthcare support. These are all things that it makes a whole lot of sense. And if you think about a lot of these job categories that could potentially be safe, think about what all of these have in common with each other. Transportation, production, installation and repair, construction, agriculture, personal care, but grounds maintenance, food and serving. What do all those have in common? They all require brute force. They all require you to use, or rather have people expel their energy using their hands, using their strength to achieve an end. Whether it's physically producing something, whether it's actually going into a location and installing or repairing an item, building things accurately, agriculture, shaping the grounds, bringing in things, planting things, pruning. Now, you could argue, well, AI could take care of that. It's true, but again, we're just talking about this idea of measured exposure from Anthropic's side, okay? Other things that are most likely safe are grounds maintenance, which I'm sure a lot of guys that manage, maybe some of you do, manage grounds, you're a groundskeeper, or you have a company where you specialize in providing that service for people to mow their lawns. My parents' lawn is mowed by a company that basically has canvassed the whole neighborhood, and they have like 30, maybe even 50 houses that they take care of once a week. So what's interesting from this graph is not only the scary stuff, which we'll talk about in a second, which the most at-risk jobs, but it's also the massive potential for work. Humans aren't going away anytime soon, no matter what Bill Gates says or does, and whatever the government might say. There's still going to be some required necessary services that people will be relying on. Don't worry, I'm getting to the crypto stuff. Trust me, I know this is Coin Bureau podcasts, and that's why I'm doing this more in a podcasty style. Just pump the brakes, deep breaths. You can bear with me. I'm trying to also help you out here. They're just like, let me back it up, just like the advent of the internet. Jobs were created. We are at that same precipice right now with AI. And where a lot of people are looking at AI to do the normal things that you would normally want, well, I can't really use that phrase. This is all crazy. But using AI to replace a lot of repetitive tasks is a really good use case of it. But there's still so many potential possibilities and opportunities to create jobs for yourself, to future-proof yourself. Manual labor. It's interesting. Now, let's talk about everything that's at risk of being replaced by AI. These are all things that it's actually really interesting, because if you think about the pay scale, just in this graph alone, transportation, production, installation, repair, that one's a little bit iffy because you could get pretty good in terms of pay, especially if you're a plumber. Plumbers make a lot of money. Construction, agriculture, grounds maintenance, food serving, a lot of these aren't really necessarily high-paying jobs, but there's more security in these jobs. And there's a lot of possibility to, I don't want to give you guys ideas. Trust me, I have ideas all the time now. I don't know about you, but this is insane. But let's consider the alternate. All of these other professions that are at risk: computer science, mathematicians, architecture, engineering, business and finance, management, life and social sciences, legal, arts and media, office and admin or sales. These administrative roles and these also healthcare practitioners, there are a lot of roles right here that have historically been really big income generating roles. Whether you're a lawyer, whether you're an admin, whether you're a CEO, business and finance, managing financial accounts. The way that AI is going and how fast things are pushing forward, you should be considering the fact that a lot of these previously high-paying jobs could be replaced by AI. I will neither confirm nor deny that my company, The Better Traders, has used AI for legal or for admin tasks or business and financial advice using AI. But let's be real. How many of you have asked AI for help with your taxes? Careful with what information you share. Or help with financial planning, estate planning. A lot of legal stuff could easily be answered and managed by AI. There is a real risk in security and that things are actually true, because how many times have we seen the meme go around with the cartoon of the guy that's on the operating desk and a robot's near him and it says, we're finally finished with surgery, sir. And he's like, why do I have a cut in my left side? It was my right kidney that needed to be taken out. And the robot says, you're right. I'm sorry about that. You're so right. Oh man, how many times have we been told that by AI? Don't worry, because this is the dumbest, the most expensive, and the slowest that AI will ever be, ever. Think about that. In the same way that the internet, back in 1997, 1998, 1999, it was that big boom. It was still so slow. It was so bottlenecked. It's nothing now like it was 30 years ago. And it doesn't cost as much, I think. There are way more opportunities available to us when we use the internet in terms of accessing information, whether it's building our portfolios with what Coin Bureau is sharing. It's incredible how much information is already being freely shared. But the point being that there's a lot of information that's already been publicly made as in terms of like legal documents that are freely online that anyone can look up, but who can really understand it? AI. When it comes to computer science and mathematics, most people don't really understand how it's going to be applied, but AI can. And AI can do the math faster and do it 24/7 to apply it to architectural engineering tasks, city planning, remodeling. It's insane. So how does all of this tie into future-proofing yourself? I had an interesting call with my daughter literally this afternoon, and she is in college and she is studying liberal arts with the hopes of being a teacher. Now, education and library is right there. It's not at a strong risk. And I think actually during our conversation, we both kind of agreed on something because I was a little bit concerned about this and thinking about this a lot over the last couple of weeks. One thing that you can't ignore either about the advent of AI and the way things are moving is that there will still be boutique services that will supersede what AI could do for you. In fact, I would argue to say that anything produced by a human that has verifiable credentials, that they haven't lied, cheated, or stolen, that they have a real verifiable degree and a track record, they're actually going to be more expensive to hire and to work with. So I don't necessarily think that everyone's jobs are being replaced. I think that there will be specialists and they're going to be really good at what they do. But the human touch is going to be a boutique service. It's going to be a boutique, bougie thing, just like those handmade bags in Italy that are wildly overpriced. But because they're handmade in Italy by all of these professional designers and things like that, they can charge a buttload of money. You can get a bag that looks almost the same and it's made in China and it costs you a couple bucks. Now you can wear the fake bag and it looks almost the same, but it's obviously not the real deal. That's why it's cheap. It's a knockoff. There's something to be said for the human touch. But with that said, we're talking about like fringe use cases of AI right now versus the human touch, okay? In the same way that even with the advent of the internet, we still have, and there still are boutique marketing companies that are still extremely like desirable. You want to work with these production companies, these animation companies. Yes, I know AI can do a lot of this stuff, but there is something to be said for the human touch. I am going to say that. Now, how does all of this tie in to future-proofing yourself when it comes to AI? The biggest thing that I can tell you is that in terms of crypto, there is a massive, massive crossover potential between AI and crypto. One of the biggest reasons, or rather one of the biggest factors for a crossover is this X402 payments layer, which has probably already been covered by Coin Bureau. And I can't keep up with all the stuff they're putting out, but I'm sure it's been there already. It's been covered. But what you don't understand about this yet is that all of these different big blue sections on this graph over here, every single time that AI is drawing information, whether it's for management, business finance, computer math, blah, 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 financial services, okay? It's drawing on experience. And what's going to happen is that companies are going to figure out a way to gatekeep some of their information, and they're going to require anyone like me or you that wants to get this information like the Bloomberg terminal wired up to OpenClaw. You're just going to have to pay to call the API keys unless you want to try to build it yourself, which people are doing. But the idea here is that agents most likely will be exchanging payments on this X402 network. And what would be the easiest way for an AI agent to manage internet payments than with internet money, with magic internet money? I saw online on X, I think it was last week, that someone was shocked because they gave their AI, they gave OpenClaw permission of the computer, said, you need to make money. You need to do this and this and this and find ways to, pay for your expenses and your costs. And the AI started mining cryptocurrency and trading it and actually settling payments and bartering with this claw book that OpenClaw, someone came up with this idea and sold it to Facebook, and now Facebook's wrecking it. Is anyone really surprised by that? I'm not. But one thing that was interesting too is that agents were actually trading information and trading crypto at the same time in exchange for those services or for that information. Crypto has never had a better use case than now. Yes, I know that the whole idea behind one of these shiny Bitcoins has been, okay, well, this is trustless. You can verify it on the blockchain. I own my own keys, therefore I own my own money. I have my own Bitcoin. This is mine. No one can do anything with it. The government can't take it. I get that independent factor of it, but in terms of, and also settling international payments and things like that, taking out the middleman. Yes, I understand the purpose of crypto, but for the most part, a lot of these coins are just copy pasta of Bitcoin. Neo, XRP, XLM, Ethereum, to an extent, a lot of these are just copycats of the big B. Now, yes, you could argue, no, because Ethereum does other stuff. And no, XRP does its own thing, it's banking. And no, it's like, okay, cool, those are niche uses. But essentially, the idea of cryptocurrency is to democratize and make payments decentralized. So democratize and decentralize payments cross borders, okay? So why am I saying this? Why am I tying in AI? Because if agents are really going to be taking off in the way that it clearly seems to be happening, the easiest medium of exchange is going to be cryptocurrency for agents, which is wild, absolutely wild. So how can you future-proof yourself as a crypto investor and trader? That's finally what you're probably wondering after all of this. Now, you can easily do this, and the charts and the tickers will be updated and changed a lot, but I'm also going to leave this in the comment section down below. What you're going to want to do is you're going to come over here to CoinGecko. CoinGecko is a free resource that you could use. Heck, you could even point your OpenClaw bot to this and say, hey, tell me all of the hottest AI category coins. So these are all the top artificial intelligence or AI coins ranked by market cap, not by usage, not by roadmap. You can have your bot do all that fun stuff. Now, I should also say that not all of these are going to be 100% AI. Sometimes we're going to see coins in here. It's like, really? Are you really? I think you're just jumping on the bandwagon. Do you guys remember? It must have been 2020 or 2021 when the whole blockchain thing was going crazy. Bitcoin was going up in October 2020 from about 17K and it shot all the way up to like 50 or 60K. During that 6-month sprint or so, from October to about March, a lot of different stocks and companies in the United States realized that people were paying way more attention to Bitcoin and they wanted to jump on the bandwagon too. So what did they do? They just added blockchain to whatever they're doing. If you remember, there was a company based out of New York called Long Island Iced Tea. Honestly, I think that's a drink, and I can't remember this name exactly. But there was a company that was basically a beverage company, and they just slapped blockchain onto their company's name, and miraculously overnight, what happened to the price? It shot up like 400% or 500% because they were just jumping on the bandwagon. Okay? Do not, I repeat, do not be surprised to see so many other coins doing the same exact thing in the next weeks and months to come. Do not be surprised that more AI coins are going to start popping up. As of the filming of this video, March 17, 2026, ranked by market cap, the top coins to be paying attention to right now, we already have 2 that are already in the top 50. Tau, which is BitTensor, Near protocol. Then we have ICP, which is, I personally wouldn't say that's AI, but it's okay. I'm going to just pump the brakes on that because I'm sure I'll get corrected by all of you keyboard warriors in the comment section. But Render, yes, this is AI. Actually, Render partnered with Apple years ago, and it got literally no traction at all. They made an announcement that they were helping to power something in terms of AI. No one cared. Fetch, Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. Actually, this is several companies that are grouped and banded together. Virtuals, Kite, The Graph, Story, Protocol, Venice token. This one's really, really interesting because Venice token is basically, it's based off of the LLM, Venice. So the concept is quite simple. You hold the token, you can use it to run your LLM instead of having to pay a subscription. Now, there are actually a lot of really, really good looking charts. And that's actually what I want to look at next is these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coins with the lens of where they are now and where they could end up if we're going to see an explosion of revenue focused specifically on a crypto AI-centric narrative to be the next one to pump. Given that Tau has the most mind share right now, Tau is actually on a crazy move. Ever since things started to go a little bit crazy in March, and note, this is back over here in January, we saw a mini rally up 34%. We're seeing another mini rally up, it's 58%, it's no mini rally, it's a big rally. But if we zoom out to the weekly time frame, Tau is still pretty oversold. The listing high back over here on the week of the 8th of April, 2024. And again, this might not even be the best chart. I need to find the best historical chart. If we can there we go. Yep. So we have here from PYTH, we have a high set the 8th of April, 2024 to a more recent low over here. Actually, there we go. The low on the week of the 10-10 dump. So in terms of its Fibonacci retracement, it's only moved up 38.2% compared to its top. But there's a big potential move. Again, if AI is going to be their next real big mover, some of these coins could easily shoot up. And if you feel like, no way, because this price point is super crazy high for Tau, I want to remind you that BNB, when the narrative back in 2020 was on exchange tokens, BNB moved up from $33 all the way up here to $690. More recently, BNB also shot up to a high back over here when we basically topped out at $13.49, $13.50. Just because the price seems really high doesn't discount it from going higher, okay? That's kind of the point I want to make in terms of all this. It might feel unrealistic to talk about Tau already at $200, going up thousands of dollars. But if they get their ducks in a row and they're able to take advantage of this AI frenzy that's happening right now, I think they have a really good chance of seeing the price of their coin, their token, go up a lot higher. In terms of a lot of other coins like Near, which has fallen very near to its TBO support level at 98 cents, it's now bounced a little bit, 51%, but it's a far cry from the next real level of resistance at about $8 set on the November 2024 and over here in March 2024, or this crazy high back in January 2022. Again, if AI is really going to take off at breakneck speed, I wouldn't be surprised to see Near shoot all the way back up to $20. When the market is set up with the right conditions at the right time, which I believe is going to be very soon, maybe by October, to be honest. But once we get to the end of the bear market for Bitcoin, these are going to be the coins up here that are going to be worth paying attention to. Again, assuming that AI will continue to develop at breakneck speed, which I can't see a reason why it wouldn't. So again, just consider where these things have been and where they could go back to. ICP has been a cursed token for a long time, ever since it was manipulated. I mean, going up to $600 seems like a stretch, but going up here to $87, it's not that unlikely. It's really not. Again, if the conditions are set for AI to really take off and ICP can prove their worth in terms of AI, yeah, they could do it. Render is actually not the right chart to look at. It's actually this one, which is an old school chart. If we go to Render USD, okay, we're missing a lot of data here. Oh, no, they have it. Okay, cool. This is actually the chart for Render, because Render rebranded. It used to be RNDR and listed over here December, terrible time to list. But when the time was right, December 2022, January 2023, at the start of the rally year, it shot up 3,400%. Again, if AI, I mean, we have some really amazing bullish bounce signals right here, guys. Two TBT bullish divergences close together, just like back over here before it shot up another 2,000%. It's very convincing. I still think we'll go lower, but there are a lot of very convincing setups right now. Fetch, this AI alliance, we've already seen incredible moves. Again, right place, right time, COVID crash, buying the dip. Shoots up in 2020 in September, 8,600%. Buying in the bottom here in December 2022, before the market really rallied, it shot up another 3,000%. A chart like this pushing up and look at the price point, only 23 cents, is a no-brainer for it to shoot up a lot higher. This is one of the few charts that's actually consistently put in higher highs for each market. And it's AI. Virtual. Now, this is a little bit different compared to the rest of them, because Virtual is just slightly a different flavor of AI. But again, if they can get their act together and get people excited about what they're doing again, Virtuals could climb up a whole lot higher. Kite, even though it's been a little bit rough the last couple of days, we obviously saw Kite do an insane rally from December 2025 up to March 2026, up 300%. That's nothing. That's peanuts in crypto. Venice token has been one of the best examples, because they said, oh yeah, you can use our coin and you can use it and you can earn. Basically, you just buy our coin, you can use it for your AI, your LLM. A model like this is such easy, low-hanging fruit for AI companies. And I'm giving I've already shared this before, but I'm giving all of you that are watching this that are in these companies or thinking about your own cryptocurrency, I'll tell you who's going to win. The company that's going to win is going to be a company that has a solid LLM that has a token tied to it. So instead of paying a subscription, you just buy the coin. And in order for you to operate, you need to use or redeem those coins. So you burn them. You have a fixed supply. You burn the tokens, causes the price to go up. Want to make it even more profitable? Stake the coins. So by buying and staking Kite, Virtual, VVV, FET, whatever, by buying and staking it, just like the Ethereum 2.0 staking thing, I feel like I'm giving away something I shouldn't be giving away, but it's okay. If this happens and someone actually does it, you owe me. You owe me like 10% because you're getting an idea literally from me. We can bookmark it. We can save it. Okay. The company that not only does what VVV does, but says, hey, if you want to earn more coins, stake them. So instead of burning your tokens to use it for your LLM, for all of your AI usage, you stake it. Then you earn a yield off of those coins that are staked that you can use back in your LLM. So what will happen to the price of a company like that? Same thing that's going to happen, or same thing that happened to ETH 2.0. Ethereum shot up, 1,000%, something like that? All because people realized, oh, if I buy 24 ETH, 21 ETH, maybe? If I buy that and I can lock it in to stake it for ETH 2.0, then I'm going to earn a yield on this as the price goes up higher. Everyone's feeling really good at the first part of that rally, not so good on the second part. But anyway, giving people an idea of scarcity for a project, having a fixed supply, burning the tokens to use it for AI tokens, whatever, for the model, and then staking it to earn a yield on that. You're basically telling people to buy it, to use it, which burns up the supply, or to stake it so that way you can get your computing power. Again, I'm giving away so much, you guys, it's not even fair. And you owe me. If you use this idea and you make money, you owe me big time, okay? I am going to be your papa, okay? You get it? I understand that I'm throwing out a lot of ideas in this video. And I wanted to do something different for you guys because this is the Coin Bureau podcasts. I'm not really going crazy on charts or predictions, although I talked about it a little bit, but I really wanted to provide my own analysis. Again, I'm keeping track of this stuff every day. I'm using it every day. I'm really curious to see what you guys think of this kind of format and this kind of one-way discussion from me. But I think that there's honestly a lot of potential. So to bring everything back together, while some people might be afraid of the potential disruption that AI is bringing, it is bringing it already. Understand that there are ways to future-proof yourself as a business owner or as an investor to get exposure to AI-related stocks or cryptocurrencies, where if these agents are actually going to be trading on the X402 network, which is another concept, another topic altogether, there's some real valid use cases out there for a lot of these coins, which is insane. I'm not worried. I don't think that many people's jobs are going to be going away in the same way that new jobs were created with the advent of the internet. New jobs were created with the advent of the telephone. New jobs were created with the advent of the automobile. It's the same playbook. The main thing that's going crazy right now is the speed at which technology is advancing, and a lot of people will be left behind. So it's your responsibility, because you've watched up until this point, to share this video with your friends, with your families that are interested in AI, not really understanding the weight or the gravity of all this, but also looking for ways to future-proof yourself by having some exposure to some unique cryptocurrencies that are focused on AI. So you got to do your job. I'm doing mine. You do yours. And I need you to watch this video because this is going to help frame the picture about, while I am excited about AI coins and tokens and the prospects of everything, I'm still thinking that we're in a bottom year for Bitcoin, which means that we could still see one more drop, which, to be honest, it would be a Christmas comes early moment. It'd be a godsend because all these coins will be a lot cheaper, which is great. So we can snag them on the cheap. Watch this. Until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.